At current weather, and then we'll show you the forecast into the 4th of July, what you really want to know about anyway, right? And right on through the weekend, just in case you have the rest of the week off for the holiday. Let's start out with the current map. Here's the frontal boundary stretching across the middle of the country. High pressure and control in the west. It's been very dry. It's also been very, very warm compared to last week. Of course, it's been very warm. It's below normal last week in the west. This week, a different story. Showers and thunder showers to the south of that front. We've had oppressive heat, and the humidity is very, very high across the southeast. We don't have to tell you that. And the showers and the thunder showers are popping up. The potential for strong to severe thunderstorms on the tail end of the front in the Texas Panhandle and parts of Colorado, also in the Ohio Valley and in parts of Virginia around Norfolk as well as D.C. We've seen some stronger showers and thunder showers. This severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 11 o'clock Mountain Daylight Time for portions of Colorado down into Kansas, and this is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana until about 10 o'clock. That means conditions are favorable for large damaging hail, gusty winds, and torrential downpours with the rain, so bear that in mind if you've got travel plans. Temperatures across the nation, it's awfully hot to the south of that front. 89 in Raleigh-Durham, it's 91 in Atlanta, Georgia. You factor in the humidity, and it feels like 102 there. It feels like 105 in Dallas-Fort Worth, and we've seen the heat all the way into California and Oregon and even Washington State. Tell you what, we'll take you to Sacramento, California, show you the oppressive heat you've been experiencing there with temperatures well over 100. Throughout the west, it's going to be hot or even hotter tomorrow. Along the coast, it has not been hot, and in the mountains, temperatures range from the mid-70s only into the 90s. But the interior valley should remain extremely hot through the 4th of July. Your heat index forecast is going to be very high in the valleys of California and dangerous in Mississippi on back into parts of Georgia and the Carolinas and a portion of Texas. That's where temperatures will be well into the 90s, and you will have very high humidity rates. All right, let's show you the forecast. As we look at
the low pressure center for sure, and as a matter of fact, the Hurricane Center had an Air Force reconnaissance plane out there this morning. They did find a circulation center. At that time, it was very poorly organized. But I'll tell you what, it's getting a little bit better organized, I think. We're getting some heavy showers right near the center of circulation. But the thing to remember about it is moving away, and it's moving away at a fairly good rate of speed, about 50 miles an hour or faster. It's moving right toward the northeast away from the coast, and that means the coast of the U.S. from Virginia Beach down over the Outer Banks of North Carolina and down to Myrtle Beach, not going to be affected at all. So it's not going to spoil any holiday plans that you might have on the 4th of July. And if it does develop further, it's just going to be of concern to shipping only. Now let's take another look at the big picture here. And there, once again, at the top of your picture, you see the disturbance off the Carolinas. Now, in the Caribbean, to south of Cuba and
chance for severe, intense thunderstorms. Trough of low pressure moving into the Pacific Northwest. No moisture in association with that one, and you're not even seeing a whole lot of weather there. All right, here is our tropical storm, first one of the season. Ana is not going to be a threat to the eastern seaboard this weekend, and it's not even going to be a threat to Bermuda. Back to the severe weather and back to the lower 48. This severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 9 o'clock local time, where we have the yellow shading from Detroit south into around Findlay and Dayton, Ohio. Temperatures look something like this. It's 80 in Dallas, Fort Worth. It's 92 in Atlanta and 85 as you head on into Washington, D.C. Look at the heat all the way north into Medford, Oregon. It's 100 degrees. Factor in the humidity. It feels like 104. It feels like 105 as you head on down into Phoenix. It feels like 96 in Raleigh-Durham and 109. Incredible heat index value for Charleston, South Carolina. If you don't have to be outdoors for extended periods of time, don't do it. All right, the forecast. Well, before we show you the extended forecast, let's give you
the very latest on our second tropical depression of the Atlantic hurricane season. Developed this afternoon southeast of Brownsville, Texas, and what we've been watching for a couple of days, what was at one time a disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms, but pressures remained low, and a tropical depression did develop. It was originally pushing northwestward, but this evening it's beginning to push a little bit maybe toward the west, and the reason for that, at least I think, is there's an upper air low down here. The circulation around the top side of that is grabbing this and pushing it on toward the west. We expect that motion to continue. And if you're keeping track, 23.3 north, 97.0 west, that's where the center of circulation is at 9:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. highest winds are at 30 miles per hour. With the system being a tropical depression and still being over some warm waters, it might develop into a tropical storm. It's real close to the coast, though, and we would not anticipate it developing into much more than maybe a weak tropical storm. And tropical storm watches are out from Tampico, Mexico, up through Baffin Bay. However, since the depression itself is way south of Brownsville and getting close to land, we do not really anticipate tropical storm conditions occurring up there in South Texas. Here's a look at the satellite picture in motion. And as we put it into motion for you, we will see how the center of circulation here kind of comes and goes with showers and thunderstorms. Here's the upper air low. You can see it spinning about here, and then you do have some outflow coming on out. And that's usually what happens when you get the air to come in. You have to have evacuation or the upper air outflow pushing it out away from the storm center. A look at the radar shows us Brownsville, Texas here, across South Texas. And we look down to the south, and this is where we believe the center is, La Pesca, Mexico. And notice how the center is kind of circulating around here and is pushing on toward the west. There are a few squalls developing out here east of Brownsville, so we might see a few of those coming in as we head through the late night and early morning hours. But right now it looks as if it's close to coast, and over the next several hours this center of circulation looks as if it should be getting close enough to the coast and moving inland to where hopefully we can say it won't cause any problems there for you folks in South Texas. And if you're watching the Weather Channel and then you head out
Indiana and Ohio, additional heavy thunderstorms continue. We can see sections in Indiana reporting some heavy downpours around the Richmond area down through Madison, from Louisville to Lexington, working its way into Huntington and London, and then building on down to the Piedmont area of North Carolina. It could be heavy at times yet this afternoon. And then we look at the area of the nation's capital, DCA, over to Dover and just south of there. In fact, we'll home into that region and pinpoint the action for you. Talk about some heavy thunderstorms from the nation's capital down to Lexington Park, through the Chesapeake, around the Cambridge area to Salisbury, Maryland. This area was racked with strong and severe thunderstorms yesterday. Getting another dose of it again today could put out some heavy rainfall, maybe damaging wind and hail as they continue to surge on off towards the southeast. Here's the very latest across the country on our National Digital Radar. We'll focus in on our forecast for the next 5 days next.
This satellite picture, that's the tops of heavy thunderstorms, and we have them in Lexington, Kentucky, north into southern Indiana. Some scattered storms in the southwest through Nevada, Utah, on over the Plain States, southern Missouri getting pounded by some big storms now, and south of D.C. over toward Salisbury picking up a few storms. The southeast isolated storms around Atlanta through Macon down into Tampa, actually north of Tampa. And again, South Texas, eastern Texas, and Louisiana, some heavy thunderstorm activity scattered across that area. Okay, outside of those regions, not a bad day across the country. Plenty of real estate under the sunshine for today. Plenty of real estate has the showers, too, and some of those, we should extend this out towards southern Missouri, getting some pretty big thunderstorms in that region right now. Watches, we've got them across southern Indiana and Kentucky until 9 Central or 10 Eastern Daylight Time, and this one until 7 Eastern Daylight Time. Virginia on up into Maryland, Delaware, southern Jersey as well.